Hello students, I am Manish Singh, Assistant Professor in C Department in Assault College. Today we are going to learn routing protocols in computer network. First of all, these are the objectives of today's lecture. Explain the advantage and disadvantages of static routing. Explain the advantage and disadvantages of dynamic means RIP, routing information protocol. Design and implementation of static and dynamic routing protocol. First, we start with static routing. Static routing reach remote networks. How your static routing works. A router can learn about remote networks in one of the two ways. The first one is manually, the second one is dynamically. In manually, remote networks are manually entered into the route tables using a static routes. Dynamically, remote routers are automatically learned using a dynamic routing protocol that can be understood with the help of practicals in uh, in the next slides. Why use static routing? Static routing provides some advantages over dynamic routing, including static routes are not advertised over the network, resulting in better security. As we know that in static routing, the network administrator enters each and every entry in the router manually, so the packets are not broadcast in the network. That increase the security. Static route use less bandwidth than dynamic routing protocol. No CPU cycles are used to calculate the communication routes. The path a static route used to send a data is known. Static routing has the following disadvantages. Initial configuration and maintenance is time consuming. Suppose if you're taking the network of 100 PCs, and in that the network administrator have to configure and install all the static routes, so it will take or consume more time. Configuration is error prone, especially in a large network, because it's a manual configuration. So it may be chances that administrator have some manual errors, so it is error prone, especially for a large network. Administrator intervention is required to maintain changing rules information, because in static routing nothing is done automatically. If you want to change anything, then there is a need of administrator to change and maintain and configure the network. Does not scale well with growing networks. Maintenance become time consuming. Suppose your network is day by day enhancing, and we can add more and more computers and more networks. So for that scenario, static routing is not good for that. Required complete knowledge of the whole network for proper implementation. Without knowing the complete network, you cannot change or you cannot configure the network. When to use static routes? Providing ease of routing tables maintenance in smaller networks that are not expected to grow significantly. Basically, this for a small network, we are using static routing that are not grow significantly, because in that scenario, it's a better choice of routing that is called static routes. Routing to and from stub networks. A stub network is a network accessed by a single route, and then routers has no other neighbors. Before going to dynamic routing protocol, first we implement the static routing protocol using a Cisco packet router. So we just move to the Cisco packet tracer to performing our practical. Okay. So we start the static routing protocol using a Cisco packet tracer. First of all, we are taking the routers. As we know that it's a static routing protocol, so we have to take in this practical, we are taking three routers of 299 series. Okay. Now we are taking a PCs. I am just taking one PC for a one network. You can add more than 100 PCs, or you can add 50 PCs using a switch or hub or router. I am taking just one PC for a one network for the demonstration because it will take more time. So I am taking just only one PC for the practical purpose. I have taken three routers. Three PCs means three networks. Now I'm taking connected cables to connecting networks. So I'm connecting you from one device to a router, then this router to another router, from this router to this PC, from this router to the third router, and this router to this PC. If I'm telling you, this is a one network. Okay, this is a one network. This is a second network, and this is a third network, and this is a fourth network, and this is a fifth network. Okay, basically we are using a five different networks. First of all, understand why routing protocols are used, because in this practical we are using a three routers, one, two, and three. Suppose this PC wants to communicate to this PC, but in that this is a not there is a no direct connection between these two devices. Suppose I'm taking one other example so you can understand very well. I am taking this router and I am taking two more odd PCs. This is first PC and this is the another PC. This is a one network and this is another network. I'm taking only one PC to represent a network. Now I'm connecting this two networks using a connecting cables. Suppose I'm connecting this network and I am also connecting this network. In this scenario, routers knows both the network very well because both the networks are directly connected to the router. So in that scenario, we cannot use any routing protocol. Okay, but in that scenario, we are using three routers and five networks. So in that scenario, this router knows about this network and this network, but this router cannot know the this network, and this network. Similarly, for this router knows about this network, and about this network, but it will not know about this network and this network. Similarly, in this network, routers know the this network and this network, but it cannot understand about this and about this and about this. In that scenario, we are using a routing protocol, static or dynamic. First of all, we are using static routing. So we start with the configuration, or in that practical, we also understand where we are using a gateway. Okay. First of all, I am taking the network of 10. So first of all, we click on the PC, then we click upon the desktop, then IP configuration. Here I am using the network of 10. So I am taking the first address 10.0.0.1 for the IP address of this PC, and this is the subnet mask. Now I am taking the default gateway. Default gateway, what is default gateway? For this complete network, this port of the router act as a default gateway because each and every packet from this network goes from this port. That's why it is a default gateway for this complete network. So I am giving IP of this is 10.0.0.2. Okay, actually this is the IP for this port of router. So I am control C, taking copy this IP address. Now I am going to the this port. By putting your mouse cursor over here, you are getting gigabyte /0 /0. This is the port number of router. Now clicking on the router, go in the configuration, then go to the gigabyte 0.0. First of all, you have to on the port status. Okay, means you have to on the port status means you are allowing the port to carry down the packets. Okay, now you have to give the IP address. Okay, this is the port IP address for this port, where I'm this IP address is used as a default gateway for PC. of this network, and this is the subnet mask. Okay, this network configuration is done. Now I'm going to give the IP for this network. Basically, I've told in earlier, this is another network. Okay, so I'm giving IP address for this port. First of all, I'm checking it's a gigabyte 0/1 and this is gigabyte 0/0. First of all, I click on this router. I'm going to 0/1. First of all, I'm going to on the port status. Then I'm giving. Now in that network, I'm using the network of 11.0.0.1 for this network. Now, as we know that this is also the same network, so I'm going to the second router configuration, then 0/0. First of all, I am going to on the port status, and I'm giving here. I am also use the same network address, so I'm using 11.0.0.2. And okay, here this is the network of 10, and this is the network of 11. Now I'm going to configure this network. Suppose I'm giving the network of 12, so I'm click on the PC, then desktop, and IP configuration. Then I'm giving the IP address of 12.0.0.1. This is the network of 12 that belongs to a class A IP address, subnet mask. Now I'm giving a default IP default gateway. Sorry, Control Z. 12.0.0.1. Here I'm giving the default gateway. This is the default gateway for this complete network. So I'm using this IP address dot 2. Okay, just I'm closing this. Now I'm going to the or this page. Now I'm taking gigabyte 0/1. Now I'm clicking on that. Now going to gigabyte 0/1. First of all, I'm on the port status. Then I'm giving the IP address 0.2. And this is act as a default gateway for this complete network. Okay, this configuration is done. You can see the color of this is green and this is red because we are not configuring till now we are not configured, so it show you the red color. Now this is the network of this is the network of 12. Now I'm giving the this is another network. This is now I'm giving the network of 30. So first of all, I have to check the port number gigabyte 0/2. Now I'm going to the router 0/2. First of all, I on the port status on. I'm giving the IP address. Suppose if I'm using the network of 13.0.0.1, and this is a subnet mask. Now I'm going to the second router. First of all, I've checked the port number. This is very important. First of all, you have to check the port number. Then you give the IP. Otherwise, you get error gigabyte 0/0. Go to the configuration. Then gigabytes 0/0. First of all, you on the port status. Then giving the IP. Here we are using the network IP address is 13.0.0.2. We have already given the 1. So yeah, here I am using 2. Okay, now this is the network of 13. Now I am giving the IP address, or we are using 14 as a fifth network. First of all, we are going to the PC, then desktop, then IP configuration. Here I am using 14.0.0.1 and subnet mask. And this is the default gateway for this complete network for 14 network. Here I'm using 14.0.0.2. Okay, and this is the first of all we have checked the port number gigabyte 0/1. We click on the router, then we go to the port. First of all, we on the port status, then we're giving the IP 14.0.0.2 and subnet mask. We are giving the subnet mask. Okay, now this is the we have done the complete configuration. of this network, but we have not configured the routing protocol till. So I think you have understand this configuration, why we are using routing protocol over here, but why we are not using routing protocol over here, because this routers knows about this network and this network, because both the networks directly connected to the router. But in that scenario we are using a three router, and each router does not know about their neighbors. So they, in that scenario we are using a routing protocol. Right now we are using a static routing protocol. Okay, we have configured. First of all, we just take a one summary. This is a network of, this is a network of 10, and this is the network of 11, and this is the network of 12, and this is the network of 13, and this is the network of 14. Okay, I think it's understood to everyone. Now I'm going to configure static routing. So first of all, we are going to click on the router number one. Okay, just I'm giving the router name. Okay, we can then next time. We just go to the configuration. Now we are start with the configuration of router in using a static routing protocol. You just click on the router, then go to the configuration. Then you see in this, you are saying routing. First of all, you go to the static. Okay. Okay. Static. In that case, this routers know about the this network and this network, means the router number 0 know about the network number of 10 or 11. So we, this router does not know about the network of 12, 13 and 14. So we, in that scenario, when we click on the static routing, it will ask for the network, mask and the next hop. What do you mean by next hop? The next hop means from the packet, from that point the packet goes from that network, that is called next hop. We can take understand with the help of example. From suppose we have to tell the router about the another network. So this router knows the network of 10 and 11. It does not know about 12, 13 and 14. So we make them aware. So this is the, we are using 10.0.0. We are just giving the network address. Okay, we are not giving the IP of any devices. What do you mean by network address? We are just giving network, and the rest of host ID is all zero. Now we are giving the mask because it's a class A IP address. So default mask is 255.0.0.0, because in that we are not using subnetting. And what is the next hop? This port of the router is act as a next hop. Sorry, this port of the router is act as a next hop, because from this port packet goes from all other networks. So this is the port number from where the packet goes to the another network. So IP of this port is 11.0.2. Okay, after that you just click on the add. Now we have to add the another network, that is the network of 13. Mask is same, the next hop is also same, because this port is the port from where all the packet goes to the another network. So we all then also we can add. So we have added two networks, and the next add network is network of 14. Now we are going to click on the 14. Mask is same, the next hop is also same. So you have added three networks, network of 12, network of 13, network of 14, and the next hop, sorry, the next hop is always same for this network. So you have configured the static routing for this router. Now we come to the router number 1. Now first of all, go to the configuration, go to the configuration part, then go to the static routing. Okay, now the router number knows about this network, this network, and this network, because these three networks are directly connected to the router number 1. But this network is not connected, and this network is not connected to the router number 1. So we have to add the entries of this network and this network. So first of all, this network of 10. So we are entering the 10.0.0.0 because it's a network address. Mask is 255 255.0.0.0. It's a network address, subnet mask. Now, what is the next hop for this? IP address of this port is act as a next hop. Okay, and the IP of this port is 11.0.0.1. Okay, now add. You have added this network. Now we add the a network of 14. You just click on this and giving the address of next network. It's a 14. And what is the next hop for this network? So this port is act as a next hop for this network. So what is the IP of this network? It's a network of 10, 11, 12, and 13. I think it's a 13.0.0.2. Okay. You're just giving the IP address of 13.0.0.2. I think it's understand to everyone because this router is not known about this network and this network. So we have added only two networks in this router number one. I think it's clear to everyone. You can see over here. Okay, we have configured this two router number 0 and router number 1. Now this is the last router number 2. Now we are going to configure router number 2. Okay, first of all, we have to understand router number 2. In that, the network of 13 is directly connected to router number 2. Network of 14 is also directly connected to router number 2. So router number 2 is not directly connected with 12, 11, and 10. So we have to make the entries of 10, 11, and 12. So we go to the routing. In routing, we are selecting static. Okay, we are selecting static. Now we start with the static configuration. So we have to make the entry of network number 10.0.0, 10, 255.0.0.0. And what is the next hop for this network? This port of router 1 is act as a next hop for this complete network because this is the port from where the packet goes to the another network. So IP address of this is 13.0.0.1. Okay, now add. And then what is the another network is 11. Okay, and next hop is same. You're going to add. Okay, now go to the we also add the one another network, that is network of 12, and the same mask is same and next hop is also same. Now add. You have added all the entries. Now you have first of all you we just take one summary. First of all, you have configured the network. After configuring the network, you are configuring static routing protocol. Using, I have already explained how you configure the static routing protocol. Now we are going to check whether your network is work or not, or your packet deliver or not. So first we click on the network of 10. Go to the command prompt. Right now we are on a PC of this. Now we check whether your packet goes to the network of 12. So we are using ping command, ping. Then IP address of this is the IP address of this PC is 12.0.1. Now enter. Okay, in the first time you are getting request timeout because it's the first time your packet goes from out of your network. Okay, then you are getting the reply. Again, if you do the same, you are getting directly reply. Means your packet delivered to the network of 12. Now we're going to check for the network of 14. Means 14 is the network is this network. This is the network of 14. Right now you are here. Okay, you are checking for the network of this 14.0.1, then enter. First packet you are getting request timeout. After that you are getting a reply. Again, if you check, do the same, you are getting reply. Okay, you can see you are getting a reply. Means from this network, your packet goes from also goes here, also goes here. Means your network works properly. You can also check from this device. Okay, you are right now you're in a network 14. Now you are going to ping the network of 12. First of all, ping 12.0.1 and enter. Okay, you are getting reply. Now you also check for the network port 10.0.1 and enter. Okay, you can see you are getting reply. Means your network works completely well. Okay, you can also check from this PC. Right now your network of 12 working on 12 network. You can check for network 10 ping, then 10.0.0.1, then enter. Okay, your packet goes from network 12 to network 10. You can also check from this network to this network from 12 to 14. You can just type ping and IP address of this 14.0.1 and enter. You can see your packet also goes from this network of 12 to network of 14. Okay, I think it will understood to everyone how your static routing protocol works. Okay, now we go to the uh, dynamic routing. Okay, because we had two types of routing. The first one is static, the next one is dynamic routing. The role of dynamic routing protocol. Advantage of dynamic routing includes automatically share information about remote networks. Okay, because it's dynamic, so your packet or your network knows about another networks automatically. Determines the best path to each network and add this information to their routing tables. Compared to static routing, dynamic routing protocols require less administrative overhead as because it's an automatic process, so it requires less administrative overhead. Helps the network administrator manage the time consuming process of configuring and maintaining static routes. Disadvantage of dynamic routing. Part of routers resources are dedicated for protocol operation, include CPU time and network link bandwidth. Because in dynamic routing, most of the time, CPU utilization is for the configuration of, or it will send the packet and it will consume the more bandwidth. So times when static routes is more appropriate. Okay, now we are understand the same with the help of Cisco packet tracer of how dynamic or how RIP protocol works. So first of all, we are take the new practical new go to the new no. Okay, we understand with the right now we are understanding how dynamic routing protocols work. For that we are using RIP protocol. First we take the routers. Here I am going to use the same network to understand how RIP protocols work. I am using three routers. Okay. Now I am taking the PCs to represent the networks. Taking three PCs. Okay. Now I'm connecting all the networks using the connecting cables. Yeah, just I'm connecting the networks from this router to this to PC1, then router 1 to router 1 to router 2, then router 2 to PC number 2. And this is the physical configuration. Now I'm configuring the IP address of complete network. Now first we go to the first PC, or you can also tell first network. I'm using this configuration is similar to the static configuration. So I'm doing it similarly 10.1, and I'm giving the default gateway that is 10.0.1 or 2. This is the IP of default gateway, and this is the default gateway for this network. This is gigabyte 0.0. Going to this port, first of all, I'm going to on the port status. Now I'm giving the IP for this port. This is 2. Okay, this network is configured. Now I am checking the port number. This is 01. This is the network of 11. So I'm giving the IP 11 11.0.0.1, and this is the subnet mask. Now this is a 00 going to router number 1 configuration 00 first on the port status, then IP 11.0.0.2, then subnet mask. Okay, we have configured the two network. Then go to the third network, the network of 12 12.0.1. I am doing little bit faster because we have done the same configuration in just like a static routing 2, and this is the default gateway, and this is the default gateway for the network number 12, and this is 01. 01. You just on the port status 12.0.0.2 subnet mask. Okay, now this is the network of 13. This is 02. Go to the 02 port number on the port status, giving the IP to this port 1 on and close. Now this is the port number of 00, I think. Yes, it's 00. Go to the configuration, go to the port number 00 on the port status, give the IP 13.0.0.2, and on the port status. Now go to the PC, just give the IP. IP for this PC is 14.0.0.1, and the subnet mask and default gateway for this network is 14.0.0.2. Okay, and default gateway for this network is port of this router. It's 01. Go to the port 01 on the port status, giving the IP 14.0.0.2 and on. Okay, you have done the network configuration. This network configuration is done completely. Just clear so that you can understand. Okay, this is the network of 10. This is the network of 11. And this is the network of 12. And this is the network of 13. And this is the network of 14. Okay. And now in this practical, we are doing dynamic routing. Means in that we are using RIP, means routing information protocol. So we just go to the router number 0, go to the routing, then RIP. In RIP configuration, you have to give the information to the router about their self, those who are directly connected. In router 0, the two networks are directly connected to router 0 of network of 12 and network of 11. These two networks are directly connected to the router 0. In the RIP protocol, they are sharing or they are broadcasting to their packet to their neighbor. What is the neighbor of this router? Router 0. It's a router 1. So this router sharing their information to this router, and this router sharing information with this router and this router, because the neighbor of this router is router number 0 and router number 2. So we are entering the information of directly connected networks to the router number 0. So what are the networks? Those who are directly connected? Network of 10. Okay. Add the next network is network of 11. Okay. These two networks are directly connected with the router number 0. Now you are going to the next router, that is router number one. Which are the networks that are directly connected to the router number one? Network of 11, network of 12, and network of 13. So you do the entry of all these three network. Network of 11, okay, add. Now network of 12, add. Now network of 13, add. Okay. Now you have done the entry of three networks in router number one. Now you go to the router number two. What are the networks that are directly connected with router number two? Network of 13 and network of 14. You just go to the RIP, you just do the entry, network of 13, now network of 14. Because in that RIP, each routers sharing their packets to their neighbors. In that RIP packets, they are having the information of those packets, having an information of directly connected networks. So when router number 0 shares the packet with router number 1, that packets having the information of router network number 10 and network number 11. Similarly, when router number one shares the information with router number 0 or router number 2, that having the information of 11, 12, and 13. Okay. Now we check whether your network works or not. Right now you are in a network of 10. You just go to the command prompt, add down ping and the IP address of network of 12. That is 1. Now enter. I think the first packet you are getting request timeout because it's the first time they send the packet out of the network. Okay, then you are getting the reply. Check, you are getting the reply. Now you check for the network of 14. Enter. Okay, you can see you are getting the reply. So friends, you can understand with today in this session here we have learned about routing protocols, static and dynamic. First of all, we have understand the theory. Then we are having the practical session in that we have understand how your protocols work with the help of Cisco packet tracer. Goodbye, friends. In the next session, we are learned about the next topic of computer network.